Hey everybody, this is the first episode of some sort of video podcast thing we're going to do here at RedsMinorLeague.com. I'm Doug Gray. This guy here is Curtis Kundal. We're going to come to you. We're not entirely sure how often. We're going to try and do it at least once a week. Going to have a few different formats. To kick things off with the first episode, we requested some questions out on Twitter from some readers. So we're just going to jump right into those things.
Sounds good.
We've got the first question here from Cam. He wanted to know how has Amir Garrett's changeup progressed over the course of the year. Now I'm going to throw this one to Courage. He's in the Pensacola area. He travels to some road games. He spends a lot of time in Pensacola watching the team, so I think that he'd be a little bit better versed in to answer this question than I am. I've got my own opinions, but we'll let him take this one first.
Oh, thanks, Doug. Yeah, we've seen quite a bit of Amir Garrett. Followed his first Double-A game on the road in Mississippi. And, I got some pretty good answers out of him there because the scoreboard radar was not very, very accurate. So it's hard to tell what's a fastball, what's a changeup. And, the best guy to ask about that was Amir himself. And he threw it fairly often that first game, he said. He's feeling a lot more confident in it, and we've seen that as the season's gone on as well. Very good fastball, just a back-breaking slider when it's at its best. But he's been able to mix that changeup in to a few more hitter-friendly counts. He's feeling more confident in it than he was last year. I don't really think he threw it much at all in Daytona, but it's been a good complement to his fastball so far in the first half in Pensacola, and that's why he's a Southern League All-Star. He's been able to mix all three pretty well.
Yeah, I think that one of the things you mentioned is that he's more confident in throwing the pitch. And as you said, he didn't really throw it too much in Daytona last year. When I was there, I saw him start once, and granted, very small sample size in one start, but I think there were 3 or 4 changeups in the entire game. It just wasn't a pitch that he was very comfortable throwing. So I think that the confidence is the big key for him. He feels better about the pitch, so he's going to throw it with more conviction. He's going to, be much more comfortable throwing it in different counts. And it just gives him something else to mix in. As you mentioned, he's got the big fastball, really good slider. So giving him that extra look, it's really helped his numbers this season. I think it's a big step for Amir this year. That's kind of one of the few things that, he did need to work on as he moved to this next level. And so far, the results have been very good.
Yeah, it's been a kind of a slow start when you're transitioning from basketball, but, this year really has been a big transitional year for him, as was 2015 when he was the co-pitcher of the year in the Florida State League, where he's looking more and more like a pitcher with every start, less of a thrower. And that changeup really helps mix things up.
All right, we're going to jump into the second question here. And that one comes from Tyler. He wants to know about our thoughts on Nick Senzel going to just Billings. Since everybody says he's so advanced, why not A-ball? I'll go ahead and take this one first. It's a surprise to me that they're going to send Nick Senzel to Billings. I agree. I think he's more advanced than that league is going to. I don't think he's going to have too much of a problem handling that league. It's going to be full of rookie ball players. He was the number 2 overall pick in the draft and considered the most advanced college bat in the entire draft. I kind of expect him to start out in Dayton and spend time in Daytona this year. It seems that the Reds are going to take a little bit of a slower approach. Some other teams have done this in the past. I think it was just last year that Andrew Benintendi went the top 10. He started off in rookie ball, absolutely demolished the league, and he jumped up 2 different levels later in the season. So if Senzel goes out to Billings and he crushes the ball, the Reds aren't going to hesitate to promote him to Dayton. And then if he continues to hit there, maybe he could, get a little bit of experience in Daytona this year before he, goes there next year to start out the season.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm just taking a look last year at the Billings Mustangs team in 2011. On average, they're about 20, 21 years old, and that's around the age Senzel will be. He's got a birthday coming up later this month. I'm not terribly surprised to see him in Billings. I wouldn't have been surprised if you told me Dayton either. But just with the Wahoos League here in the Southern League, they've had plenty of top 5 picks coming through. Mike Zunino with the Mariners affiliate. Chris Bryant was another number 2 pick. His first full professional season was in Double-A Tennessee. And I'm using that kind of as a yardstick, not a comp. Mind you, there's a difference. But, Chris Bryant was a fast riser, made a very quick impact with the Cubs. Nick Senzel, I would not be surprised to see in Pensacola next season if everything's firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, I think that's probably somewhat close to the Reds' plan. There's not a huge rush this season. Let them go out and play, kind of get into the routine of being a professional player. Playing every day. I think that's kind of one of the bigger things. That players they don't really know enough about coming from the college ranks going into professional ball. They do have to play every day, whereas in college you're playing 3 or 4 days a week. It's a different thing. But yeah, I think that where he finishes this season isn't really too much of an issue. I think that next year is going to be more key to his how fast he can reach the big leagues. If he's going to start out in Daytona or Pensacola next year, it's not going to be much of a big deal.
Plus, that gives the Reds a little time to figure out the rest of the positional battles. Adam Duvall's held down the fort pretty well in the outfield. He's an option at third base. Blandino has seen some time all around the infield, excluding first base for the Blue Wahoos. So if you give him really half a season, they can figure out there are other options at third base and really pave the way for Nick Senzel in the lower levels, and then later as he moves up to Pensacola.
All right, we're going to jump into the third question here. We've got one from Zach Fries. He wants to know about the day 3 draft guy with the best chance to make it to the big leagues. I'll go ahead and take this one first. I've got a guy that I really like that they took on day 3. In the 17th round, they took right-handed pitcher Mitchell Traver. Unfortunately, he didn't pitch much this season. He had a little bit of an injury problem. He's kind of had injury problems in his career. But he's a 6'7" right-hander, 250 pounds, big, huge pitcher's body, throws in the low to mid 90s, touches 97 with good movement. You can mix in good off-speed stuff. He's the guy that I really like from day 3 of the draft. If I had to pick somebody from that group, he's the guy that really stands out to me.
And then for me, really, I'd give Doug all the room in the world on day 3 of the draft. He was just plugging away there, 11 through 40, and fantastic coverage on your side as always. But left-handed pitcher John Wilson is an intriguing profile to me, even though there's not much information on him. But when I see 25 hits, 7 walks, and 61 strikeouts in his last 41 innings, you've got my attention. Not really a power pitcher, not a dominating fastball, just 87 miles an hour at their last check, but a very good combination, changeup and curveball. And when you're left-handed, you'll get every chance that's really possible to any pitcher. You'll get some wiggle room if you're left-handed and breathing. So I'd keep an eye on John Wilson, 38th round pick, but it's day 3. There's a lot to work with. We'll see if he signs, if he chooses. He does have a commitment to Old Dominion, but already the Reds have been able to sign the top 4 from day 1. A few other picks announced in the mid to low 20s today by the organization. So we'll play the waiting game with some of these guys from day 3. But if John Wilson sticks around, there's a good changeup and curveball to work with. If not, maybe he picks up some velocity over at Old Dominion.
All right, and the last question we've got for the day is from Cody. Now, he wants us to be very bold with our picks here, but he wants to know in 5 years, who are the picks from this draft to be in the majors? Take one from each day. So I guess I'll jump in.
Senzel, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, day 1, I'd definitely take Nick Senzel. I mean, that's an obvious pick, an easy pick. I mean, obviously, the Reds felt that he's the guy that's probably going to be there in 5 years, or they wouldn't have taken him second overall. On day 2, I'm going to take the easy way out, although I could definitely make an argument for several other guys, but Nick Hansen was the first guy they took on day 2. High school pitcher, signed for $925,000 yesterday, actually, which is over slot, so the Reds clearly like him. Big right-handed pitcher. Northern state, so he's not as polished as some of these other guys are, but I love the combination of his size and his stuff. And then on day 3, I kind of pretty much threw out Mitchell Traver earlier. Wouldn't surprise me if some of these other guys jumped in there and they were, big leaguers at some point in the future. But I think that I'm going to stick with Mitchell Traver from day 3 for me.
That's good. And then plenty of more draft coverage on Red Leg Nation. Doug recorded a video there a little earlier. You can check that out at the top of their page. I got a pretty good look at Jesse Stallings over from LSU. He was another middle-of-the-road pick for the Reds. very good start to the season. Electric fastball when he was able to locate it. But, I'll tell anyone, really, I stopped paying attention to LSU around the time spring training kicks into gear. So I couldn't tell you what happened in the second half, so to say, but the numbers from February didn't quite hold up into SEC play. Nonetheless, 92-94 with his fastball, touch 97, worked in a slider and curveball as well, but he's a college arm. It's a very good program there in Baton Rouge, and they've had a history of moving players up the chain in short order. Aaron Nola, Friday night starter a few days ago, reached the majors very quickly. Plenty of outfielders from his former teams climbing the ranks in Washington and New York in their minor league systems. So I'd keep an eye on Jesse Stallings. Liked his right arm early in the year in a late relief role. We'll see how it plays with the Reds organization.
Yeah, good pick there. All right, well, that's all we've got for today. Like I said, we're not going to do this question and answer format every week, but I think that things went pretty well. Let us know in the comments, both here on YouTube or at the website, what you think, things maybe you want to see us talk about in the future. And if you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe. We're gonna bring plenty of Reds minor league coverage both here and on the website. So head on over there if you're not familiar with us. And thanks for watching.